Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. Check, we Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairing, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. When I open like Betty Wops and find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. To the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, Black Sun, we ain't nothing like them other guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. To the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it. We Ric Flairing on it, flaring on it.
DQ, baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids. D-Face. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah.
Best way to counter misinformation and disinformation is to flood the system with correct information. The only trouble and observation that I have made personally is that it appears that the people who are spreading the misinformation and disinformation do it in a very energetic, aggressive way, as if they don't have anything else to do. Whereas the people who are capable of spreading the correct information actually have a day job. And we're kind of fighting, you know, we're going into a gunfight with a knife, which is really something that I think we're going to have trouble overcoming that. I can say we have disinformation. One of the things that I believe the entire world is facing, but we certainly are facing it in a very, very disconcerting way in the United States, is the amount of disinformation that is accompanying what should be a problem where everyone pulls together against the common enemy, which is the virus. We have disinformation that is entirely destructive to a comprehensive public health endeavor. And I'm not sure how we're going to counter that, except by getting out as much correct information as we possibly can and use the social media in a positive way as opposed to in the somewhat destructive way that it is being used right now.
High school.
Yeah. I can say
Very interesting. That is very interesting. Welcome to Try Media. This is Brass. Welcome to our channel. Hopefully you come in and listen, have an open mind. I've been watching. Well, Hits, you in the building? What's going on, Hits?
What's up? Peace, everybody. I'm just here to listen. I didn't catch any of the hearing, so I'm going to be listening and learning too. What up?
Hope everybody having a good Monday at whatever job you have or business you own, or if you just don't do much of anything. I guess I gotta wish you bums something too. I've been watching these. I was going to do a full show. This was just going to be a topic on the show, and then I started paying attention to the Fauci hearings. And for those that don't know, if you lived under several rocks, I've been watching. There's a House subcommittee investigation right now. It's controlled by Republicans. A lot of people keep saying it's a Republican subcommittee. It's not. It's just a House subcommittee where Republicans are in control. Sadly, a bunch of Fauci's critics are on there too. And I've been watching these subcommittee hearings, and there are some things coming out of these subcommittee hearings that to the general public would probably be pretty distasteful or pretty distressful. To me, I'm one of those weirdos, whereas, I see a lot of people, they watch, I guess they watch different things online. I watch subcommittee hearings. I'm a weirdo like that. I like to watch court. I like anything in the political process is stuff that I like to watch. Peace to you, Joel. Peace to, okay, Logic in the building. Peace and African American power to the depending in this unconscious community, I kind of who is Sean? Man, I wish Sean was here to have this with y'all. Okay. Peace to Sean, whoever that is. I like to watch things like this. I'm a C-SPAN child. I'm a CNN child. I'm a man. I was about to say the biggest pause in the history of the world. Hits. I was about to say I'm a BBC child.
You may well be.
Oh my God, that's the biggest pause in the history of the world.
That sounds like family, business. Let's leave it there.
No, but I mean the network. A lot of times, or Al Jazeera. Like a lot of times, I go when I like to hear different topics. I always thought it was very interesting, even as a child, how different news outlets cover different subjects. So like the Al Jazeera, CNN, Fox News, C-SPAN is a good one. There's a clearinghouse on the web that you gotta have a password for, but they got some good information too. Yeah, that was super wild. But if y'all don't know what the BBC is, like in the real world, I guess, Google it. Just don't Google it on your work computer. Because a lot of other stuff will come up besides the news network that I'm talking about. So for those that don't know what's going on right now, and that was Fauci speaking on misinformation. And that misinformation is a very dangerous thing, especially in regards to COVID, especially in regards to public health. And I don't know what y'all think that I'm about to necessarily say, but when it comes to Fauci Fauci has always, to me, I always knew Fauci was going to get a raw deal when it came to this. Pause. What's up, DQ in the building? Speak to the people.
You good? Peace, everybody. What's good? Hope everybody having a blessed day. We in the building. Fauci been lying.
So,
It's up. Let's see what we talk about, Mike.
so, so, so for those that don't know, there's, like I said, there's been a House meeting, subcommittee meeting, and then he's been having to testify under oath to some of the statements that he's made, some of the moves that he made during the pandemic. And I always knew something was going to kind of happen. If you have any kind of intelligence when it comes to the United States government, you can kind of see the play if you've been paying attention or you watch enough of the right stuff. Not all the conspiracy stuff, but if you just watch enough of the right stuff. So during the pandemic, and it was great. This is sad to say, but it was great. We were just in the Discord having a conversation about the pandemic, and all the different things that we had heard on different sides of the country and what they were telling them, and the illustrious they. And one of the things that we all pretty much came to agreement is that it just seemed kind of not strange, but it seemed kind of off-putting to me that Fauci was made as the person that we were supposed to listen to. That he was the one, he was going to be the voice, he was going to be the quote unquote, oh, okay, that's Sean. Okay, Marcus. Okay, I know that's Sean. I don't know him personally, but I caught a little bit of that this morning. Him and dude going back and forth. And yeah, that was brutal. But I'm going to catch the rest of it probably later. But and peace to you, Marcus, in the building. Peace, Gideon. And I forgot my thought. Oh, we were talking about the pandemic and some of the things that were happening. And I saw how the government put Fauci on Front Street. They he's the guy. This is the guy, not the science. This is the guy. We want y'all to listen to him and what he's saying. And to his credit, he was, because he's not a rookie in that. He's dealt with and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I know he was one of the leads on the AIDS epidemic at the time, H1N1 epidemic at the time, Ebola at the time. So he's not, this ain't his he did a whole book on COVID, Brass. Sean. Oh, okay, that's fine. And one of the things that I always noticed was, and I said this then, they're gonna try to kill this man later. And I didn't mean physically kill, not on some conspiracy stuff. I meant literally they're gonna try to pin a lot of this on him. Like if there were any mistakes, because if any of you know how the government works, the United States of America is kind of funny. And the way the government works is they will literally, everything that happens on a large scale, especially in the United States or globally, they have subcommittees. And when they have these subcommittees, there's an investigation because there's a few words that they have to make sure that were followed, guidelines, that there was transparency, that people weren't stealing money. I remember during Katrina, those subcommittee hearings were, it made you kind of upset to be American, the amount of stuff, the criminal stuff that went on during Katrina, after Katrina, and before. So for those that don't know, right now there's a House subcommittee where Fauci is actually testifying today. He's had some closed door testimony last week that came out. And while I've been scrolling my social media last week, all I've been hearing is Fauci made it up. I keep seeing this thing. Fauci made it up. Fauci made it up. Fauci made it up. And I'm trying to figure out, what are they talking about? Fauci made it up. So as you go down the rabbit hole, which I don't like doing, I was trying to spend some time with my family this weekend. But as I went down the rabbit hole, they just started going into all of these different things that Fauci said or didn't say, what his email said or didn't say back then. And it's coming out now because he's having to testify before the hearing. So for those that don't know who Fauci is, Fauci Dr. Anthony Fauci is a leading figure in the U.S. public health sector for, I want to say, about 50 plus years. He started at the NIH. If you don't know what the NIH is, that's the National Institute of Health. He started there in 1968. He was the director of the, I think it's NSAID or something, NIAIDS, whatever it is. He's the head of the Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases, right? And that was in 84. He's contributed significantly to HIV and AIDS, developing treatments that have transformed the disease from a death sentence. Because I remember, when we were children, HIV and AIDS was a death sentence. You were going to die. It wasn't like when you found out you got it, you were planning getting your things in order. And he was one of the people that helped it go from that to a manageable condition. Like I said, he also played crucial roles in responding to outbreaks of SARS, H1N1 influenza, the Zika virus, and Ebola. So he's not a rookie. He's been doing this for over half of 100 years. Why did I say that like that instead of just over 50? Over a half of 100 years. I'm getting old. So during the pandemic, he was the chief medical advisor to President Trump and Biden. He was a key figure in the response, and he provided guidance on mitigating measures, treatments, and vaccines. He was the household name. If you said you didn't know who Fauci was during COVID, you just weren't really paying attention to COVID, because they plastered his face all over social media, all over the internet, this, that, and the third. So I think a lot of people at the time, they were praising Fauci because we were in a pandemic. And I think, not understanding what we were in a pandemic. People were dying on a mass scale. People's loved ones, the Black community at large, was being affected because of underlying causes. It was bringing to light the amount of the healthcare issue that we had personally in our own race. COVID was highlighting, because people were just dying. We were talking about the pandemic earlier, about how, some people, the last time they saw their loved ones were when they dropped them off in front of the hospital, because you couldn't go in. You couldn't get in contact with anybody, and the next call you got was, they're dead. Everybody didn't die. I'm not saying that, but I mean, that's the experience. A couple people, matter of fact, Hits and DQ, if y'all want to share before I get into this. Some of the stories we were sharing in the Discord were just so sad about, there were people in our Discord saying, yeah, I dropped my uncle off at the front of the hospital and we never saw him again. Because you remember, at the time, they weren't having funerals. They were cremating the bodies. Your last experience with your loved one that helped you over time, helped you with your life, was dropping this person off in dire straits in front of a hospital and never seeing them again. Do you have anything you want to share with that, DQ or Hits, before I get into it? Because this is going to be a bit of a monologue. It might be a bit long, pause, but I want to get my thought out and then open it up to the public. And I don't care if you like or subscribe to this video. This ain't about that. It's just, I just want to share my thoughts. And before you speak, either one of y'all, I want to say, I'm not speaking for this company. I'm not speaking for other people. I just want to I want to have my thoughts, because one of the things that I agree with Fauci, with what I played in the beginning, was, I think it's very dangerous that, because we're so afraid to say something wrong, we're not saying anything at all. And I think that that's almost as dangerous sometimes as saying the wrong thing, in my opinion. I think COVID has become such a sensitive topic that I'm going to go ahead and have the conversation. I really don't care who watches, but since I am going to be in this media space, it's a conversation that I wanted to have. So, Hits and DQ, y'all want to say anything?
Yeah, most definitely. COVID was a very, very stressful time period. I did lose my uncle to COVID. One thing I did hate was the seclusion aspect of it, because my uncle had went all the way to Houston. He was with his lady in Houston, and she was a nurse. So he was like, "I'm gonna go down there with her. You know, she can give me some care." And he ended up going to the hospital and ended up passing away in Houston. So most definitely, COVID was no joke. A lot of people don't take stuff serious until it's at their front door. Humans don't learn until they're on the edge. So it was a wake up call for a whole lot of people.
Condolences to anyone who lost anybody, family or friends for COVID, first of all. And obviously, we hope this is not triggering to anyone. And, shout out to anyone who was deemed essential and worked through it. And anybody who was on the front line trying to deal with it across the different aspects of it. So definitely shout out to y'all. Appreciate that. I'm good, Bryce.
So, in peace to the chat. One of the things that I want to also get out too is, I had I lost some people. That's all I'm gonna say. I lost some people that are very dear to me, and it's just tough. It's just tough. Um, Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up because it's not even something I even like to talk about. It's one of the reasons why I've been hesitant to have it because of the misinformation and disinformation surrounding the topic. But I feel like nobody wants to talk about it. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. It's weird. I think COVID's ramifications, the bad or the good ramifications of COVID and the things surrounding it are gonna affect um, us for generations to come. I don't even think we're going to see all of the effect. I was talking with Sosa, and we were talking about the proliferation of online companies at the time. Amazon exploded, DoorDash, Uber, all of these things that allowed us to still kind of exist, still kind of have some sense of normalcy during the pandemic. These are all things that were just kind of like things that people kind of used at the time. And then after that, it just blew up into something that became very uh, almost a necessity. Some people can't live without Instacart now. Some people can't live without DoorDash, Uber Eats, things like that. So, as far as Dr. Fauci with his support and criticism, a lot of people praised him for his dedication, his expertise, but a lot of people began over time, even during that time, I guess everybody kind of banded together against a common enemy. They always say the one way, how you get racism to stop? When the aliens come. The only way that white, black, brown, yellow, all these different colors of people are going to stop hating each other is when we have to band together against a common enemy. And I think COVID at the time kind of did that. I know a lot of things the Republicans and the Democrats were going crazy at the time, and they banded together in some ways, still had their own little issues, but they banded together in some ways that were very uh, it was very good to see. It was very good to see. I'm trying to parse my words to an extent. So there are some main points of contention. So they're having a subcommittee on the investigation, and it's not a Republican committee, but it's a controlled Republican. So there's more Republicans, obviously, than Democrats on this, and obviously a lot of his critics. So some of the main points of contention are the origins of COVID-19. There's an ongoing debate whether the virus originated from a natural spillover or a lab leak. I remember a little part of this, and this is why I need y'all participation. I remember a part of this where, or if y'all don't even know, there was a time where people had a conspiracy theory of did Fauci that it came from this thing with bats and other stuff. I mean, y'all can educate me further, but the conspiracy theory was that it came from uh, a lab in Wuhan, China, and it spilled over and somehow infected people. It was a lab leak. It's a lab leak hypothesis. That's what they're calling it. And Fauci came out strongly during the time about that he didn't believe, there's no way possible. He strongly was against it. They've gone through his private emails. They've gone through some other areas of thought, and we're going to talk about these individually, but some other areas of thought that say that he didn't feel as strongly against it as he was publicly saying at the time. There's also a subcommittee examining the basis for public health guidelines, such as the 6 feet apart social distancing recommendation, which Fauci testified may not have been based on solid scientific data. The vaccine mandates, his role in promoting vaccine mandates is under review, with discussions on the necessity and impact on public trust and vaccine hesitancy. So there's key quotes and statements. Fauci testified that the 6 feet apart recommendation sort of just appeared, raising concerns about the decision-making process. Fauci has stated that the lab leak hypothesis should not be dismissed as a conspiracy theory, a significant shift from his earlier position. So now they're asking, what are some of the things that could happen to him? And we're going to discuss that today. And mind you, I want to be very clear because this word keeps getting tossed around. I am a person that owns a company that has a YouTube channel that discusses things in the media. I am not an expert. I have a degree. I have a master's degree in things in a topic or whatever. I'm not giving any personal information, but it ain't in science. It's not in what is in a science, but it's not in virology or anything of the sort. I am not an expert. I'm simply just sharing my opinion. Now, before we go further, I am fully vaccinated with multiple boosters, as is my entire family, and I think you should be too. I wore masks during the pandemic. I wore masks after the pandemic for probably longer than a lot of the people around me. And I do believe the vaccine was real. I agree with Dr. Fauci. I agree with, I agree as far as from whatever I am as not being an expert. So whatever you thought that this was, it's not that. But what I am also, and this is where I am pretty good in, is politics. I'm very good in the political process. And what I will not do is not have a conversation based on what he's saying now versus what he was saying then. So I will say this to anyone. If you're not vaccinated, you're a fool at this point. You were a fool then, but you're definitely a fool at this point. If anything that he's saying puts you in the mind of that you should not get vaccinated, okay. So Slade, I want to be clear. let me. There's been this thing in the unconscious community where everybody wants everyone to show this and show this and show that and show this and show that. I think you would almost have to be foolish to show too much private information on the World Wide Web, on YouTube, to anybody, because in that particular community, I know a lot of our crowd initially is that community. In that initial community, things like that get taken and used. For every good person in the conscious community, like a Unk, like a, of that ilk, the people that are trying to actually fight the good fight and get their message across, there are, and I quote, pedophiles, scammers, what else? Let's see, pedophiles, scammers, criminals, felons, active drug dealers, active drug addicts, that will take personal information and use it. I respect my family. I come from a very large family. So me putting my personal information out on the web will go no further than um, I do have a degree and a master's degree. That's what I mean by things, because I'm trying to be as private as possible and be online and do a show. So, so if I have not been clear, you should get vaccinated if you have not already been vaccinated and boosted, and it should go. Now I'm messing with you, Slade, saying where you messing with me, Paul. So that's not what this is. I just want to address some of this before it gets out of hand. Like I was telling Sosa earlier, or Hits or somebody I was telling earlier, this is going to be like a pseudo killer a field day. I'm pretty sure all the people that were afraid, that were in the woodworks or in the bushes hiding, are going to take this testimony and spin it and do this, that, and the third. And for me, I think I just want to have conversation about it, because I think it's very interesting. One of my friends, Cedric, he always says the methodology, follow the methodology, follow the methodology. And when I saw some of these things, I got a little distressed. But as I did my research on it, and I hope somebody else is following the chat if y'all could. Um, um, One of the things that I saw is I thought it was kind of crazy that the 6 feet apart uh, mandate didn't come from science. Now I'm gonna look this up and go through it, but Hits, that didn't. So we're gonna get into it. Essentially, some of the things that Fauci has said or did not say, and what he's saying in his hearings, and he's testifying now. He's testifying now. So Hits, what did you? I think I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in for people that want to come in and maybe cuss me out if that's what you think you're gonna do. If I told you that the 6 feet mandate did not come from science, what would you say to that? And speak a little and take a little time and speak, because I'm trying to set something up over here. If you're there.
I'm a little caught off guard by the question. What
If I told you, remember, I mean, because we were in New York and New Jersey, we were in the tri-state area. So
if it
if
I
you
think
found out,
but naturally, if someone is sick, like I think the number 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, that may be up for, scientific debate, but just in general, people being sick or possibly being sick, it's just natural to back up unless you're a, first aid personnel, or, you have to deal with individuals who may be sick. But it just, to me, I didn't think it needs scientific, like, maybe the number, but just to have some distance between individuals when there's a contagious virus going, like, that's literally not rocket science. Somebody
right.
may have something, that's contagious and possibly deadly. We do that. If someone sneezes, we back up, or coughs, we give them a look, or so I don't think that's they needed science for that. Now that the actual distance, they did all type of tests. I don't know if people saw it on the news, where they would do tests when people sneeze, how far uh uh molecules travel, and things like that, how long they stay on surfaces. There's definitely science behind that, I'm sure. If you cough or sneeze, average distance, how long it stays
So
in the air. So go ahead.
so Joel, our question, he said he didn't understand the question. My question was this. During the COVID pandemic, we were told to stay 6 feet apart from other people. Um, Now, I don't think any of us at the time asked why we were told to stay 6 feet apart from other people. We were just told to stay 6 feet apart from other people. And they're saying that Fauci said it, and he made a good comment during the trial or during the investigation, that he wasn't the one that said we should stay 6 feet apart. It was the CDC, and I'm gonna get into that now. But they also said that there was nothing based, there was no clinical trials to say it. They were just telling people to do it. So I thought that was interesting. Because now I'll share my in the final thought. So it says the 6 foot social guideline came from the CDC. Fauci clarifies. This is 2 hours ago, so this is hot off the press. Logic, what's going on?
What's up, man? What's up, everybody?
What's going on, bro? Just steady trying to get people, just trying to get us banned off of YouTube. Doing my best, trying to do it
Nah,
as best and as clean as possible.
I like this topic. This is a really good one. You know, I like the stuff that you tend to like side off and research on. I think those are really good topic. It's not the general conspiracy theory stuff, but yeah, I like it. This is a good topic right here.
Yeah, I was actually going to do a show on about 7 topics, but I think this one's going to take a while. Also, if you probably can't afford it now. If you can get into GameStop stock, I am not a financial advisor. If you lose all, that's on you. I'm just telling you something that I think you might want to look into. Look into GameStop stock. I'm just going to tell anybody that's listening, going to look into GameStop stock. Don't buy it. Don't sell it. Don't do anything that I'm telling you to do. Just look into it and have at it. Because I actually was going to do a full show on finance today, but this came up. So Dr. Anthony Fauci testified or clarified that the 6 foot guidance for social distancing given during the beginnings of the COVID-19 pandemic did not come from him, but from the CDC. It actually came from the CDC. The CDC was responsible for those kinds of guidelines to schools, not me. Fauci, who repeated the guidance during the pandemic, once said that there was no science behind it, but what he meant was there were no clinical trials to back it up. It had little to do with me since I didn't make the recommendation, and my saying there was no science behind it meant there was no clinical trial behind it. He added that he believed the CDC used studies about droplets years ago as reasoning for the 6 foot guidelines. So for more background, when the CDC first promoted the idea of social distancing, that's what they called it during the time, for people who had to be around others during the pandemic, scientists thought that larger contaminated droplets would fall out of the air quickly and couldn't travel farther than 6 feet. At the time, the World Health Organization, WHO, recommended that people keep a meter or 3.3 feet between them. But even as early as 2021, scientists were starting to understand that the coronavirus was airborne. So, let me put the link. Are y'all following the chat?
Yes.
I was before I got up here.
Yeah, I can't. This is not one of the ones.
I just put the link in there.
Okay, I can't follow the chat.
I got you. Any business.
So the issue with what Fauci did or did not say or did not do with the 6 feet is that there were no clinical trials. But just so we can kill all this misinformation, the CDC is the people who basically made that decision. He repeated it. That's what I meant by when we first started about him being the face of this whole conversation. One of the things that you got to understand is that he didn't say that in and of himself. He said it, but it came from the Center for Diseases and Control, basically understanding that coronavirus was airborne. So now what's going to be spun is that Fauci told us to basically stay 6 feet away then based off no science. That's not true. It's not true. It's not true. And I think one of the things, that bothers me in all of these conversations, all of them, is that somehow they expect, we watch too many superhero movies, so we think somehow that Dr. Fauci, when he got off of it, he put on his Doctor Strange robe and went and solved and fought crimes or whatever in the community. But he is a human being like all of us. well, he isn't like all of us because the man been working on viruses for over 50 plus years. But to try to say or try to make any kind of conspiracy theory based off of that's what he said then and this is what he's saying now would be foolish. It would be lazy. It would be very dangerous, I believe. And I think that over the next couple of weeks, and somebody let Joel on the platform, over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see things in your social media that say simply, Fauci made it up. And I'm here to tell you he didn't. I'm here to literally say to you that if you don't, sometimes people confuse trust science with obey authority. And two things can be true, but in that particular case, trust science. Just trust science. Just trust it. And I'm not trying to be overly scientific because I'm not. I leave that to the pseudo killers and what they do, and they could say it a lot more cleaner than me. But trust science does not equal obey authority. During that time, a lot of you guys in Monday Morning Quarterback, you can't go back to what the world was like in 2020. It was rough. Times Square empty. People spraying themselves down with alcohol, people hustling toilet paper, people, I never forget that. There was like a run on toilet paper. You couldn't find, there were masks in the bodegas and corner stores where the Black and Milds was. It was wild. It was a wild time. So to now go back and say, you know what, Fauci, you got to be 100% correct. We're going to go back and kill you for, everything that you said and all of that, and then now somehow you think you're going to get some justification out of it. You're wrong. Joel, go ahead and speak. What's up, Christian, non-Christian, Christian? Sunchild, you said you can't trust it. You sound like somebody that will say that.
Hold up, wait till I get to a good spot. Give me like 5 minutes.
Okay. So that was the first part of the quote unquote things that they're saying that he lies about. So another thing I want you to understand is about the subcommittees and why they're doing this, why they're going after Fauci. Some of the issues that they have with Fauci one of them is called gain of function research. Gain of function research. One of the primary concerns is related to gain of function research, which involves manipulating viruses to understand their potential to cause pandemics. There have been allegations that the NIH, which is the National Institute of Health under Fauci's leadership, funded such research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China, potentially contributing to the origin of the COVID-19 virus. That is a stretch of pandemic proportions, but that's above my pay grade. And that's one of the things that they're investigating him on, is that technically, somehow they're going to try to paint it that Fauci caused the COVID-19 to be released to the public, which is, I can't even really think of the word.
Preposterous?
Yeah.
Absurd.
It's absurd. Yes. Thank you. I need you to be my Key and Peele translator. The other one is transparency and truthfulness. The subcommittee is investigating whether Fauci was fully transparent and truthful in his testimony before Congress and in his communications with the public. This includes whether he accurately represented the NIH's involvement in funding the gain of function research. The third thing is there are questions about the advice and guidance Fauci provided during the early stages of the pandemic. Critics argue that his shifting positions on issues like mask usage and the severity of the virus may have caused confusion and hindered the public's health response. For his emails and internal communications, they've scrutinized Fauci's emails and internal communications to determine if there was any attempt to downplay the possibility that COVID-19 originated from a lab leak. That's the lab leak hypothesis I was discussing with you earlier, and whether there was any coordination to suppress his theory. Handling of the data in science is the fifth thing. Concerns have been raised about how data and scientific information were handled and communicated to the public. This includes whether Fauci and other officials presented the information in a way that aligned with the evolving scientific consensus, or if they were influenced by political or other external pressures. And six, conflicts of interest. Some subcommittee members are investigating potential conflicts of interest, including Fauci's connections to various organizations and pharmaceutical companies involved in the COVID-19 response, to determine if these relationships affected his decision-making or public statements. These issues reflect a broader scrutiny of the U.S. government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the role of public health officials like Fauci. The subcommittee aims to address these concerns to ensure accountability, transparency, and improvements in handling future public health crises. Now, while I agree that they should do it, and I agree that they should look into it, I don't like how they're doing it. And this is where my opinion, says my opinion is null. And I get where Cedric is coming from. You know, us crazy Americans sometimes, you know, we got this thing called freedom of speech and the right to say whatever we want to say in public forums and stuff. I get where Ced comes from with that. And then a lot of the misinformation and disinformation that can be taken from some people trying to do good can be mistaken. So I understand where you're coming from, Ced. But in my particular case, and I'm going to stand on this, the Sunchild, you definitely are welcome to come in and speak your piece. Joel, just let me know when you're ready. And to the rest of the panel, I think to go back, unless Fauci did this, unless Fauci somehow is Lex Luthor and plotted to destroy the entire globe with some kind of virus or something, I don't fault him for anything unless they find out he did something criminal, which I don't think so. I don't fault him for anything that he said in trying to save human lives during the pandemic. And I think that we were at a time, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback and go back and say, well, no, Joel just got dropped. To say that what he was trying to do was somehow harmful, I just don't agree. And this is where social media comes in, where social media will tell you, and they have this thing where social media goes and you just see these splash news. And I want to remind everybody, fast news does not mean that it's good. There's a lot of things I want convenience in. I want convenience in how fast the food gets cooked or something like that. There are some things where convenience makes sense. Facts and news and convenience has become a dangerous thing in social media. I have seen Fauci made up. Fauci made it up. I've seen that statement in my social media circle over the past week at least 100 plus times. Now, to me, somebody who can actually go and do the research, who watches C-SPAN, who actually will listen to 12 hours of a subcommittee hearing in Congress, I'm a little different because when I see it, I'll just go look it up. But to the average person, that's very dangerous. And we got a pseudo killer in the building. Joel, can you speak now? We got a pseudo killer in the building. We got a person, I respect his mind, what he thinks on subjects, or anybody else want to talk, because Joel's got issues with his connection.
You still can't
Okay,
hear
he's
me?
good now. Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
You can hear me? Shut up. Man, what?
Man, no, we can't. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Yeah, it's that Baltimore. It's that Baltimore Wi-Fi, man.
Yeah, he was about to start lying on Fauci.
Yeah, as Soon as y'all start
Ain't no.
lying, soon as y'all be Maury and start lying, y'all connected
Man,
straight
see, that's how.
up.
Look, I got one word, Brass. I got one word.
Go ahead, bro.
Black seed oil and elderberry juice.
That's more than one word, by the way.
Hey man, she
Oh my
don't say
God,
it the
bro.
way we want to say it. She don't say it the way.
Oh
Hey,
my
but look,
God.
check it out. No, here's what I was gonna say though. I remember when they had came out with the 6 foot thing, right? And I was like, man, this don't sound right. So I went and looked it up. If you type
Okay.
it in, if you type in something like COVID-19 um 6 foot social distance reasoning, it'll bring up what they did. So they really based it off of people like if you sneeze, there's a certain amount of distance of projectile that your droplets from your mouth go. And so they were
Right.
saying that for like regular talking, some people spit when they talk, they wet you up like a teeth and tot. And they was like, well, they came up with that concept from that. That's kind of what led them to the 6 foot. Not that it's like 100% based in like lab results and stuff like that, but they use it as general rule based on what you're gonna see is the sneeze test and the and water droplets from talking. That's how they came up with it.
No,
You follow what I'm saying?
yeah, no, and guess what? I'll take it a little further. See, one of the things that I enjoy is you're a PK, so you have to, when you say something, it has to be sourced up and have scientific backing. But for me, guess what, Joel? I don't give a damn if it was clinical trials. I don't give a damn if it was tested. If it was, great. If it wasn't, for somebody to tell you that other people are sick, you should stay away from them. To now try to kill the man because they don't have proof or whatever, I think it's just terrible. I think sometimes we are so busy trying to be experts and scientists, we forget, like, so what's the point of covering your, as a child, you're taught to cover your mouth when you sneeze. Then it was, nah, it's not your mouth, it's your elbow, and don't sneeze into your hands and all that. Like, I get it. My whole point is they're really killing this man over this. But I mean, have you watched any of these subcommittee hearings at all? I got Slade to watch some of it earlier, and even in the first 5 minutes of him watching it, he couldn't believe some of the stuff that they're saying. They're really destroying him behind this. I kid you not. Y'all think it's a game probably because y'all don't watch. It's crazy the stuff that they're trying to. If it wasn't pinned, if it wasn't based on clinical trials, I don't care.
So wait, Brad. So are you saying that trial sounds more like the court of public opinion than it does a scientific critique?
No, I think kind of, because what I think is, there's always got to be a fall guy. That's not just in movies. That's in politics. That's in life. So, like, even in sports, they find, at the end of a playoff series when everybody loses, it's always one guy's fault, right? So that's like human nature, I guess. But one of the things that bothers me, and y'all got a lot of work that y'all gonna have to do, because I don't know, the statements during it. It's like they're trying to kill his. I mean, he retired from service. For people that don't know, he's no longer in that business of
CDC.
Whatever they had.
He no longer working for them.
No, he retired completely. He retired completely from everything or anything in regards to it. I'm pretty sure he still does some things here and there, but he retired. But I mean, his daughters are being harassed. They threatened to kill him and threatened to kill his daughters and all kind of crazy stuff because he's some of the thing, he has made some mistakes, but I think we watch these people on TV, we think they're not human.
Yeah, everybody make mistakes.
He's made some mistakes, and I think right now they're kind of destroying his legacy now. But what they don't understand is, for those people that's been in the weeds, this is going to cause a lot of people saying, "See, I was
So
right."
how much
Go
does
ahead.
this have to do with the death of expertise? Like American exceptionalism,
That's a
elitism,
good point.
you know, people trying to. I want to have the authority to do what I want to do, and I don't want nobody telling me what I got to do if no matter what's going on in this world. Americans carry a lot of that around.
Right.
We carry a lot of that. We don't want nobody telling us what we can and cannot do. I'm that way. You can't come on my lawn and just do whatever you want to do. Hey, check this out, Slim. Get off my front. Go get on your own front. Well, you're supposed to be a Christian. You're supposed to share. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna share. Get off my front. Yeah. So I mean, it's just part of our culture, our how Americans live, and we don't like people telling us stuff. And so this may be deeper than just Fauci. This may be a way for people to be able to go back to this and say, see, they told us this, they made this up, when the next virus come out, and they say, I'm not doing nothing, they say. All it's going to do is hurt us more. That's all it's going to do. So that's my opinion on it. It's probably a witch hunt.
No, I think that, and a lot of these hearings are deemed as that. I think a lot of times people don't understand too. If you're in politics, you're either running for an election or you're preparing for the next one. I was taught that the first day. That's politics 101. You're either running for an election or you're preparing for the next one. So a lot of times you got to remember, these people are talking to their constituents. A lot of it is getting reelected. We all know what's about to happen. So a lot of this, it's not a coincidence. I think that some of this is happening. Before I continue, does anybody else want to say anything? I'm about to look in this chat for a quick second. Sunchild is cooking with grease.
I want to say something.
Are you breaking up?
Maybe.
No, you
I was a little bit better.
Say something.
That's logic on this cricket. Logic on cricket.
Yeah, logic on that cricket. Logic on that cricket
phone, man.
Yeah, he got that bodega phone. He got bodega wire. He got bodega wireless.
He talking about my BMO connection.
That's crazy. Hey Joel, he got his phone. They pulled his phone from right behind the Little Debbie's and Honey Buns at the corner store.
Right, yeah. straight out the bubblegum machine.
Yeah.
He had a bubblegum machine, man.
Hey, what's up, Slade? Hey, so Sunchild, I know you said you can't talk, but I think you wildin'. This says Fauci means fake. I'm gonna put you on Front Street for half a second. Fauci means fake. Fascinating means fake. All that shit was wild. He said he can't talk. I respect that. The 6 feet deep distance, the gun to your head temperature test, the I can't breathe mask, psychological science, Lord. Yep. This is why I did the show.
Okay. So Sunshine, hold up. Wait a minute, Brass. Brass.
I'm telling you now. Go ahead.
Brass don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
They coming out the woodwork. They're going to come right out the woodwork. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
Brass.
Go ahead, my G. I'm listening.
He gonna say pray. Sunchild gonna say pray and look out for the intelligent designer to look out for you. I don't have a problem with praying. I think because I'm a Christian and I think that praying is definitely good for our body budget. But we know for a fact that there's certain things that when we do them, it helps us from a health standpoint. Just praying by itself is not going to help you from a health standpoint. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's where Sunchild going. Sunchild just going to shoot down science altogether.
Well, even then, don't y'all say faith without work is dead?
That's right. And the works is put your mask on, spray Lysol, use hand sanitizer, and 6 feet distance. Mm-hmm. That's your words.
Go ahead, Slade. You want to say something?
No, I just want to say, I'm enjoying the show. Y'all keep it going because I'm at work right now trying to write stuff down.
I
Y'all go
appreciate it.
ahead
And
and keep
I
on.
got 4 bars
appreciate it.
right now. Let me get it in before my stuff drop. So like, man,
Pause.
like I can
Super pause, but go ahead.
before my stuff drop. Okay,
You said
pause.
get it
Okay, so
in
look.
before my stuff drop. I don't even know what that means, but go
All
ahead.
right. Okay,
Oh
you right.
wow,
You right.
Brass boy.
Go
Brass
ahead.
ears, brass ears is tuned, bro. You know I can't.
I know,
But you're
man. It's
right. Pause.
ridiculous, man.
Hey, he just said get it. He said I got 4 bars. Let me get it in before my stuff drop. Pause. I don't care what y'all say. Go ahead, bro.
Let me go back on mute, man. Y'all,
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Rock.
that's
No,
super wild, man.
say, dang, Brass, you done messed the man up.
Y'all be wild. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So like, okay. So I feel like I can have this conversation from the standpoint of being one of these people, right? Not too long ago. But it's been years now, so I done kind of like been able to get that system. But you need to have a conclusion already in your mind. Say the life or whatever it is that you hear, right? This conclusion it's gotta mean something to you.
You out of there,
Golly,
Rock.
and you cut me off with the pause game.
No, your phone cut you off.
Because you
Not me. Hey, if you got a
no,
phone that needs exactly 30 seconds in order to keep a connection, you need to find another company. That ain't a Brass issue.
it's because I'm in the woods. I could have said it all. I could have said it all, but while you were talking about pause and Joel was laughing,
you got a
yeah.
good connection now. Go ahead. You got a
So
good connection now.
so yeah, you gotta
Man,
have
what the hell you doing in the
like
woods,
a
brother?
conclusion. You gotta have a conclusion. So I don't want to be here, trust me, but you gotta have a conclusion that you're trying to already like bring.
Man, you out of there.
Man, this guy, man.
His phone, I know his phone got a carburetor and a starter.
Pow!
His
Yeah,
phone
man.
got to have a
Pause.
carburetor and a
Hey,
starter.
pause for his phone, Brass. Pause
Yeah,
for his phone.
just pause for his phone. This man said, you gotta hurry up and let me get my words out. Man,
Yeah.
I've never heard of a phone like that. Can you imagine calling somebody and saying, hey, listen, I know you want to talk. Let me get everything I gotta get out because this phone gonna cut me off. We need a new phone. So wait, Joel, before you go. So I want to bring this up. And peace to you, Gideon. I ain't talked to you in a long time. So these are some of the things that they bringing up. So, and Hits and DQ, y'all can speak whenever y'all want. Y'all know that. So there was mass guidance. Now, this one I did find kind of interesting, but I have a different take on it than other people. His early statements on mass guidance were, in the early days of the pandemic, they're saying March 2020, he advised against the general public wearing masks. Let me share the screen so y'all can see what I'm getting this from. And matter of fact, shout out to all the people, because we have 15 people watching, 1,500 people. No, I'm just going to say 15. So all the 15 people that logged in just to try to click up and see if Brass lost his mind and try to kill me later, shout out to you.
Brass has definitely lost his mind.
Yeah, my mother raised no fool whatsoever. So I don't know. I guess people thought I was gonna come in here and turn into a conspiracy theorist all of a sudden, but the rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. So
if you want to go from 15 to 1,500, go ahead and go for it.
Yeah. Now, if I wanted to be pseudo, I could easily. Man, and ain't that a shame, though? Ain't that
I
a
know.
shame, Joel?
It's a
That
shame.
if I would have got on here, right? If I would have got on here and just went absolutely ape shit on Fauci today, there'd be 500 people watching right now.
Easy.
And then
They'd be flooding this
5,000 shows later, Tri-Media and Brass have lost their natural minds. Right. I knew they were pseudo. Right. Clown shit. So listen, so March 2020, it says in the early days of the pandemic, Fauci advised against the general public wearing masks, stating that they were not necessary at the time. This was based on the knowledge available and concerns about mask shortages for healthcare workers. His later statements, where Fauci and other health officials later reversed this guidance, recommending mask wearing for the general public as it became clear, that's April 2020, that asymptomatic spread was significant. Now, there are people that are going to have a problem with that. And I hope somebody that's scientific or science-based or whatever will join this to kind of clarify because I'm just making statements based on what I think. But I think that if in March 2020 they told you not to wear masks so that the damn healthcare workers that were taking care of your family didn't have a shortage and had a mask available, and the fact that they did change it once and the fact that they did change it once they understood that there were people that were asymptomatic, isn't that what science is? You change based on the available. You make a, I don't know what the exact word is, but you make whatever decision
you make your
based on the
approximation.
knowledge you have, a conclusion, right? You come to a conclusion based on the knowledge you have, and then when that knowledge changes, you change. That's what science is.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they're
science
trying
will
to
do
paint
that.
it like
Yeah,
he's
science will do
lying.
that.
They're trying to paint it like he's lying. Like he said, now here's the thing, I don't have a problem with if they told us that so that the healthcare workers could wear masks. I don't have a problem with that. I don't. I know I'm probably in the minority when it comes to that, but I don't care. I don't care. So you think somehow that them telling us that is a lie? What say y'all to the panel?
Well, look. The healthcare workers always wore masks. Like they never stopped doing it. And I think that went out to kind of like to make sure that they had enough masks for them. Because
I agree.
remember at first they was like if I'm not mistaken, they was like it had to be a what you call a mask that's got the proper filtration.
N95.
Three N95. It had to be an
Yeah.
N95, right? And then they switched it and they said, well, wearing anything will help, whether it be a small mask, a scarf around your face. They said just
Right.
anything that you could cover up with. They said that would help it, right? And so maybe that's part of the reason why they did it that way at first. They was like, we got to get the supply up. Because if you don't have the people that we taking sick people to, we really gonna have a problem. If everybody's sick, we got a problem. Like it's out of control at that point.
Exactly.
So
that's
is that part of what?
Yeah, that's what they're. I'm trying to give you specifically what they are coming to a conclusion of the things that he said. They're attacking these statements. So critics argue and that the initial advice against masks was misleading and that Fauci should have been clear about the reasons for the guidance, i.e. to preserve masks for healthcare workers. The second one was the social distancing measures. We covered that. But during his closed door testimony, Fauci mentioned that the 6 feet apart social distancing guidance sort of just appeared, suggesting it was not firmly rooted in scientific data. The criticism is this has raised concerns about the decision-making process and the scientific basis for public health recommendations. So basically, when you give a public health recommendation, what they're saying is that if it's not based on science, then it's just based on what you believe. But Fauci went on to say that he didn't say this. He said it, but he's not the one that recommended it. It was the Center for Disease and Control. And that it was based off of previous clinical trials they had where they understood that the coronavirus was airborne. So I think they're kind of killing them on the specifics, but it is what it is. But this one is the one I think is most interesting to me, is the origin of COVID-19. Fauci initially downplayed the lab leak theory, emphasizing that the virus most likely had a natural origin. His later acknowledgement, over time, Fauci acknowledged that the lab leak hypothesis should not be dismissed and warranted further investigation. Critics claim Fauci's early dismissal of the lab leak theory was misleading and potentially influenced by a desire to protect scientific collaboration and funding practices. Now, what do you think about that? Or anybody on the panel? I don't want to talk y'all to death. If y'all able to talk, y'all, jump in and speak when you want.
Well, I don't know. Like that whole lab leak and did somebody put it out on purpose? Did it first get invented in China, then shipped to China? I mean, Texas, and then shipped to China. Like all that stuff right there. there's no way for us. All of us would just be putting out our own thoughts and theories on it because
Exactly.
they're gonna hide that particular thing, unless somebody come and leak it, and put it out there to us. We would never know. So that's all I guess. But I want to go back to the 6 foot thing.
Go ahead.
At my church, I want to say this. At my church, we had no outbreaks. And what we did was we took away, because we have chairs for seating. So we took
Mm-hmm.
away chairs. We grouped them where a family sat together. Then 6 feet away, you had another chair. And we spaced the auditorium out, right?
Right.
They call it a sanctuary, auditorium, sanctuary, whatever. We
Mm-hmm.
spread it out. And yeah, people would come there. After leaving, people came and came back with COVID, but we had no mass outbreaks at our church. Not
Right.
one.
Right.
And we did that for 2 years straight, from 20 to 22. We did that.
My mother's
So
church still meets in the gym. We have a church outside. We got together and built a gym for the kids outside my mother's church, my childhood church. And
okay,
that church, they still meet in the gymnasium because it's so
okay,
big. You know what I mean? They still meet there
right.
because my church now, my childhood church. What's still my church? I'm gonna say my church. My church now, there's so many elderly, I guess, that they were protecting. But I don't. Yeah, I agree with you. They, the 6 foot thing I think was necessary. I don't need science for it, but I can understand why they're saying what they're saying. But I think I'm one of those people that believes the ends justify the means, and
Right. Well, I mean, there's a
whatever
lot of
we
groups
had to
that
do to make
didn't
it
do it.
through.
There's a lot of groups that didn't do it, Brass, that had them mass outbreaks.
Oh yeah, there were people still meeting. I had I thought it was very
No,
interesting.
I'm saying not just meeting, Brass, but where like 60% of the congregation ended up with COVID. Like everybody ended up sick after the
No,
meeting.
I ain't
That's
talking
what I'm
about the
saying.
churches, Joel. I'm Monday morning quarterbacking. Remember they were telling people, and it's funny, everybody got short memories now because they don't like to think about it. But remember those Thanksgivings and Christmas dinners that was killing auntie and killing
Yep.
grandma and killing uncles and stuff like that?
That's when
All of
I
that,
got my
like,
first
yeah.
taste of it.
Yeah,
Yep.
those people were still having dinners. They were telling people, nah, y'all might not want to get together this holiday. We're
Yeah,
gonna
we
wear
ignored it.
masks, and how you gonna do this? And then people were dying.
And hey, Brass, check this out. This is how it worked. Everybody walked in to the house with a mask, and
And it took it right off.
it took it off. And
Yep,
start
and it took
laughing,
it right
joking,
off.
and talking, hugging, and kissing, and eating. Hey, everybody ended up sick after that. Oh, snap.
Is it even deep enough to where like they're proposing an alternative to the 6 feet? Are they saying that 12 feet would have been better, or just completely
I
stay
think
inside? And
no. What they're doing is, and
No,
Sez
they
brings up
never
a good
proposed
point.
12.
Yeah, that too. I think Sez bringing up a good point. They're trying to. I think when you try to, it's that statement. You try to find a leg to stand on. I think they're at this point they're just trying to hang him for everything he says. So I want to put Sez comments up. The concept of social distancing or social distance or social distancing wasn't originated during the COVID-19 pandemic, but it was extensively promoted and utilized as a public health strategy during this time. The term has a longer history in epidemiology and public health, and it refers to measures intended to prevent the spread of infectious diseases by maintaining physical distance between individuals. Early concepts. The practice of maintaining distance to prevent the spread of disease can be traced back centuries. The Black Death in the 14th century. 20th century, the term social distancing and similar concepts have been part of public health strategies. Yeah, I said that earlier. I don't know if you heard me. When they said that Fauci said it, Fauci came out and said, I said it, but it was recommended by the CDC, but then the World Health Organization it was based off of, they were trying to figure out if it was based on clinical trials. The World Health Organization had based this off of things that they had done trials on before, and they used it because they realized that the coronavirus was an airborne virus. So that's what I mean by these are things that are simply answered. But I remember I did a show, I don't know, like a couple months ago, where we understood that I think 80% of the misinformation during the COVID pandemic trailed back to like 8 websites. So there was an effort, literally, think about that. 80% of the misinformation came from 8 websites, 8 to 12 websites. So there were people that were just literally trying to just spread false news. And that's what I mean by social media. And that's why I'm doing the show. The average person, and this is where we got to get rid of our educational arrogance. The average person, when they see Fauci made it up, you know the first thing they're going to do this evening when they get to their kids or they get to their wives or they get to their grandparents? Hey, man, you heard Fauci made it up? And then that person also really not caring, or they saw it on their social media. Yeah, they said that we didn't have to wear masks and then da 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 da.
Right.
So, and that's why I want to have the conversation, because a lot of times we become so educationally arrogant, we just dismiss them and say, oh, they're just crazy, or they're just pseudo, or they're just this. But even Fauci said in the video I played at the beginning of this video that the reason why misinformation beats correct information is because they have way more energy, because the people that spread the correct information have day jobs. I'll play the video again, but even he said it. He said it. He said the reason why you have to have these conversations, you have to have these conversations. We'll play it again. You have to have these conversations, because if you're not going to do it, all you're doing by sitting here saying, well, y'all can't talk about COVID and y'all can't do this and y'all can't do that. Well, then I'm not surprised that you know what, I'm gonna let him say it.
The best way to counter misinformation and disinformation is to flood the system with correct information. The only trouble and observation that I have made personally is that it appears that the people who are spreading the misinformation and disinformation do it in a very energetic, aggressive way, as if they don't have anything else to do. Whereas the people who are capable of spreading the correct information actually have a day job. And we're kind of fighting, you know, we're going into a gunfight with a knife, which is really something that I think we're going to have trouble overcoming. That I can say.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. That's a good
That's
point.
all facts
from
right
the
there.
horse's mouth. That's from the horse's mouth. That's like for you and Slade. That's the pseudo killer manifesto. That should that should be what y'all should wake up and listen to that in the morning. Like that's exactly,
yeah. Send me that clip, Brad. Send me that clip. Send me that.
That's exactly why. You know what I'm saying? That's why
I think that on to the right people.
Conversations like this are important, because as much as people don't want to talk about it, people don't, you know, as much as people don't want to talk about it, when you don't talk about it, these hearings are still going to happen. And when these when these conspiracy theorists get hold of that information, man, you're going to see a billion shorts, a billion videos. They're going to be doing Reddits. They're going to be doing quorums, clubhouses, Snapchats, everything in the world. And then you're going to run out there and say, well, this is what actually happened, against the 30 million people and sites that have already seen the rest of the stuff. So that's why I'm not afraid to talk about it. If you want to attack me for talking about it, attack me. I'm cool. I got broad shoulders. You know, I come from a strong stock. All I'm gonna say is this: try media. I'm not gonna be afraid to speak about media because it's just uncomfortable. I'm not doing it because it's the uncomfortable conversations is where people take advantage of you, because they think that you know you don't have the energy. Hits DQ. Y'all got anything?
They didn't say nothing. Do I got a lot of background noise? It's raining pretty hard where I'm at.
Yes, you do, sir.
No, yeah,
yes, you do, sir.
You do
We can
so.
still hear you though. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Dad, that was rain. Good gracious.
Yeah, that's
Sound like
right.
it.
So
Sound like it. Yeah, I got some video about that. I got some
my
video
bad,
about
Joe.
that
But
too. I'm gonna play. It's crazy over there right now.
there's the first place I heard it was on YouTube. So the FBI apparently had some kind of like training website where they disclosed some information about. They actually tracked down a lot of the misinformation about the coronavirus to like these Russian bots or something like that. The second place I saw it, I actually posted it in the back chat so you can put it up on the screen and read it. But they actually say Russia was behind those 8 websites that you're talking about with
They
this
were. Yeah, they
misinformation.
were. Yeah, they
Yeah,
found
so
out they were.
that's actually really interesting, all by itself. But I mean, I say, man, when you got to have some kind of alternative to a solution to any of these problems that you better bring up. I mean, for us average people, if we don't like the 6 feet, well, you got to bring up something that you feel like would have worked better and why. And that's where you start to go down a real slippery slope, and it stops making sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I always mention that these conspiracy theories, which I actually really hate, are usually some incomplete thought that somebody's having. You know what I'm saying? You can't give me a really good rationale for why one single diabolical human being would want to unleash a virus across the whole world. For what reason? I don't know. Like you have to you'd have to finish that thought out. You know what I'm saying? Before it really starts making sense. Unless you just like conspiracy theories, which a lot of people do. In all reality.
Mhm. And that's what made and that's what made Uncle Cedric fight so hard because they seen this shit coming down the line. And them two did a good job. Sean as well, bro. That's why I said I wish Sean was on here because he could talk more to it about what y'all talking about because he witnessed the same thing we all witnessed. How they trying to throw Fauci under the bus. So,
Man, Sean
Well,
broke it down for me. Sean book was very, very intricate in the way I explained COVID to people. Because a lot of
yeah.
people had a misunderstanding about what COVID-19 was and what
Yep.
SARS-CoV-2 was. And then he explained in
Mm-hmm.
his book that SARS-CoV-2 is the infection, COVID-19 is the disease. And he explained the difference in how the vaccine worked towards the infection and how it worked towards the disease. But yeah,
Where's the book?
Sean was very intricate in explaining
You
that.
can buy it online.
Where?
On Amazon. And I believe he got it on his website too.
Somebody plug his website, plug his book, and we'll put it up for a second.
I don't know why
Salute.
people
Okay.
blaming Russian bots. That dude from the Nation of Islam, what's his name? The smooth criminal dude.
RZA.
RZA.
The
RZA.
Yeah, man, he was
the
on all
RZA.
kind of big
He said the
big
RZA,
platforms.
the
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
whatever his name is.
him and Uncle was supposed to have that debate and it never happened.
He,
yeah,
he needed to run, but
he
they
did
had him
Uncle
on
David.
all kind of platforms spewing that nonsense he was kicking.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
Uncle
I'm
David. That
telling
would have
you.
been a waste of. I'd have been a
And
waste of
he ain't Russian by far.
No. But
Yeah.
what we mean is what we're trying to say though is yes, he was a person talking about it, but when they went back and looked out of Russia, it was 12 websites accounted for 80% of it. So he was in the 20%. But if
Right.
12 websites is
Oh,
80%
okay, I
of
get you.
the, you understand what I'm saying? Then that means it was a concerted effort, a planned effort. Because I think what they were also trying to figure out is where does all this information come from? Now, logic, I got to
Mm-hmm.
give you a little bit of pushback, and I hate using that term because that's what Hit says to me at least 5 times a day. When they, this is not one of those cases. We have a rule in Tri-Media where don't complain about somebody's solution to a challenge unless you have your own solution. Now, when we talking about memes, shorts, finances, ideas on business and stuff, that's one thing. But if they're telling us to wear masks and stay 6 feet apart, I don't give a damn what your thought is, Mr. Wawa sandwich maker. Like if your idea is groundbreaking and you think that we need to do something different. I'm not gonna. I don't even want them to offer an opinion on what they think we should do. I mean, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna say something that my parents were telling me a whole bunch of stuff that they thought, but these are things like when you grow up in the South, you hear all of this. Drink this, drink some tea, get you some. I was so elderberried out and
Oh man,
damn castor oil and
Black seed oil, the elderberry,
black
baby.
seed oil, the goat's foot,
Yeah,
hot
yeah,
peppers.
these are your parents saying that.
Goji berries.
Yeah, my mother was
Yeah,
like,
gold water,
my mother was like,
Some
smoothies.
ginger.
Make sure you hit your
Some
juice
ginger.
shop up, get your
yeah,
smoothie, ginger, get your ginger shot, your wheatgrass.
all that bullshit,
Hey,
sleep
Brass,
standing up, all
Brass.
that shit. Go ahead.
I'm gonna take it beyond the pseudo. All the y'all say black seed oil, castor oil. I'm gonna take it straight to my granny. She had blessed oil. It was something blessed by the pastor.
You can't beat blessed oil.
You can't
You
beat.
can't beat that. They can't beat that, DQ.
I don't even know what blessed oil is, man.
Hey, DQ, you gotta let grandma have that, man. You gotta let granny
that
have
shit
that,
kill
man.
vampires,
That must
yo.
be
You
from
can't
the
beat
Gotta
South,
let her have
yo.
that, bro. Don't
That must
argue
be
with her.
from the
Let her have
South.
it.
That ain't up north. That is not up north.
that should have
Niggas are
repelled
blessed oil.
COVID and vampires, man. You ain't beating that.
Nigga.
Hey DQ, you know what they told them to wear? You know what they told them to do in Baltimore? They said you should go out and wear as much Under Armour as you possibly can.
Son, Under Armour, y'all laughing. Under Armour will protect you.
It'll defeat
And it'll wick the sweat away at the same time.
Jesus Christ.
Y'all better stop clowning Under Armour, man. There's gonna be some problems, repercussions around here.
Y'all defend Under Armour way too tough. But no, but my point is, and this is what I mean by, and this is what I mean by your educational arrogance. Sometimes y'all be on these channels, bro, and I'm sending this out to everybody. Sometimes y'all be on these channels so tough, talking about listen to the experts, listen to this. Do you know that sometimes y'all telling motherfucker to not listen to his mama, his grandmama, like his grandfather, his stuff like that. So I understand.
That's not true. That's not
No,
true.
you are, bro. Hold on.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna give
I
you an
don't like the
example.
way you're framing that. I don't like the way
I
you're
don't.
framing it.
Yeah, hey, guess what?
That nigga said framing it. Damn.
He said framing it, boy.
You're gonna be the first victim of what I finally get to do. Guess what? I don't give a shit because it says Trap Media on the door. So listen to what I'm saying. Follow what I'm about to say. When my sister was going through, she had a issue with her weight, and the first thing I would go with her to her appointments. The first thing that the doctor told her, you want to know what it was, Joelle? It wasn't about you eating too much, this, that, and the other. You know what he told her? He said, your parents are your worst enemy when it comes to diets. Your diet as an adult was literally programmed into you by your parents. And I was like, and I'm sitting there like, you don't know my mama. So I'm gonna just go ahead and ask, like, what the hell you mean by that? And you know what he said, Joel? He said, because your parents was the first people that made you eat stuff that you didn't want to eat. They're the first people that told you that you gotta drink milk with all your meals. They're the first ones, that told you eat all your food before you get up from this damn table. They're the first ones. They're the first ones that rewarded you when you did good. They went and took you to get pizza and stuff like that. They're
Especially if you ate all your vegetables.
Yeah, they're the first ones that trained you on that. They're the first ones that when you were sad, they gave you candy and things like that. So what I mean by that is, I agree with you somewhat when you say frame it. But what I mean is, like how DQ said, how do you tell your grandmother? I'm not talking about DQ, and I'm not talking about you. The average person, the average religious person, how do you tell your grandmother, get the hell out of my face with that blessed oil?
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Point blank, period, you don't. I ain't trying to hear no arguments, none of that. You don't.
There you go. So sometimes
But
when you're talking
so let
about
me
people
say this.
listening to experts, you
You
listen to
don't.
it's your family that's telling you to do
No, listen. Here's the proper way to put it. I
it.
tell people, look, listen. I tell people, listen to what people say to you, and then take that, go back and read scientific information that's going to
There
help
you
give
go.
you some clarity.
Scientifical?
No, let
Listen
him
Hold up,
to
hold
me.
finish.
up.
Let him finish. Let him
Scientifical.
finish.
Yeah,
No, let him
man,
finish. Go ahead.
science, man.
Let
And
him finish.
go and read that. And now
Scientifical.
that you've been educated on both sides of the story, make your decision.
We
But
got actually
learn
scientific.
it, and then
Let
if
me
you
know when you're
decide to
done.
go
I'm gonna let you
against
get
it,
your complete thought out. Go ahead.
so be it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna say to you. This is what I mean by educational
We gotta
arrogance.
post that scientifical.
The average person, you've been around scientifically literate, sourced up people so long that you think that that's exactly how the majority of people are. I hate to say that,
No,
bro.
that's not true. That's
Yes,
not
it
true.
is. I'm diagnosing you with educational arrogance, bro. You think that people actually hear stuff on social media and go do
Hey,
research. The average
Mongo, where
person,
you at, Mongo? Help me out.
no, go ahead, Mongo. Anybody on the panel. The average
Logic,
person
swing on them
saw,
for me,
hold
Logic.
on.
Swing on them
The
for me.
average person saw just now, Fauci made it up on their social media, and they're gonna go tell that to somebody else. That's how misinformation spreads.
Yeah,
They're not gonna
the
look it up.
average
Sure.
They're not gonna
person,
do
the
it,
average
bro.
person
They're
leans
not
on their
gonna
They
do it.
definitely
intuition,
not gonna look it up.
and they are definitely not going to look it up. Absolutely not. You could look it up for them, read it to them, and they still not going to believe you. That's the
And
average
I ain't never
person.
heard of the
Right,
word scientifical in my
right.
life.
But that's the best you can do for people, though. You can point them, you can lead a
Science.
horse to the water, but you
But
can't make them
but
drink it.
I think y'all
That's
don't
what I
give
did for one of my friends
I don't
during COVID.
I don't think y'all give people enough credit. And it's not to agree with, Brass is saying people are what was the word you used? They're
Educationally arrogant.
yeah, I don't think we give people enough credit, right?
EA.
Pe- pe-
EA.
You give credit where credit is due, though.
Let him
hold
finish
on,
his thought.
hold
Let
on.
him
Let
finish
me.
his
Thank
thought.
you, Logic. Thank you.
Let him
No,
finish
this is
his
what
thought.
I'm saying.
Boo.
If I'm looking on social media and I'm looking at reels, I'm looking at them. My personal reels, I look at
Is
stuff
a is
about.
a real real? Is a
Ho-
real real?
Yo,
ho-
can we
ho-
let the
ho-
man finish his thought?
I
Jesus Christ.
I look at monster trucks on my reels. I look at dogs, cats. I look at
Oh
people
yeah, go ahead and
falling.
cut him off.
Uh, I I I look at people falling down. I look at
What's up?
some people like to look at
Yeah,
accidents and
a
whoever's
little
mic
chilly
is.
in here.
Yeah,
Cut him off.
whoever's putting up a fence in their backyard, could they mute? They might.
No, go ahead. No, he's
No, I'm
Mongo's at
joking.
work.
I'm joking. But if I'm looking at reels and I come across something that confirms a bias that I have, that's confirmation bias, right? That's one way that we ingest information, right? The other way is if we're looking for information and we're trying to do fact finding. Those are two different uh, uh, mindsets, right? One is obviously confirmation bias. It's the term defines itself, but if you're trying to find facts, you're using critical thinking, and you're probably going to find something that disagrees with something you either currently believe, or you're going to find out hopefully something that you didn't know or understand before. Those are intentional. Like fact finding is intentional, like highly intentional. Confirmation bias, maybe not so much. Once you hear what you want to hear, you're kind of going to stop your research right there. So if someone is not in it for that, you holding them fully accountable and saying they're like Brad said, they're going to run with Fauci made that up. That's right after the scroll of them watching, a cop club somebody over the head, or wild animal eat a smaller animal. Those are all in their daily activities. They're
Yep.
not. It's social media,
Yep.
right? And then so if you don't know someone's intention originally, then it's kind of hard to try, judge where they end up at. If I'm trying to give you misinformation, from like a cybersecurity standpoint, you brought up Russia. My only goal is to get your attention before you could think about it. before you can look somewhere else. It's my goal to get your attention. Attention is the new, even as a business, my goal is to get your attention. Damn the facts, damn all of that. So that works in adversarial situations too, is to get someone's attention, take somebody off of their square. Now, all of that to say, a lot of people, it wasn't on the news. It wasn't, I don't know what circles you ran in, but a lot of people forgot the simple thing of when they get sick. When COVID came out, I was essential. I go to a doctor when I don't feel well for annual physicals, this, that, or next. That was a obvious person to go to talk about COVID and how I should handle it or what I should do when I'm sick. That got negated so bad because your normal attention. I have a question about a medical issue. Let me go on YouTube, or just let me call my doctor. I smell gas in my house. Okay, the stove is off. Let me call the gas company. The lights are flickering all around. Let me call the electric company. The car is making a funny noise. Let me go to the mechanic. Those are normal steps that we would take, but because mis and disinformation jumped in front of your cognitive ability to go to that step, that's how this stuff spreads. And it spreads for a lot of different reasons. Russians have their reasons. China has their reasons for doing shit. And people who are getting views and making money off of this, they have their reasons for So that's what our platform also tries to add to people. That first step, critical thinking, if you're trying to get actual factual information. Or just be honest, if you're on it for the bullshit and it's easy, I don't like this guy anyway, so I'm gonna believe the negative shit about him. Like, that's easy. So that's what I mean by give people credit. Everybody ain't fooled. Everybody ain't tricked. Everybody, they just don't understand. That's bullshit. A lot of people do understand, but a lot of people don't care.
Exactly.
And
Right, but pointing people into the right direction doesn't mean that you're trying to
well,
be
maybe I don't care
like
about the right direction.
overly smart.
Maybe I want something to agree with how I feel to justify me not liking this guy because he's white or he's short or he's rich or
Right.
the government. I'm looking for that. So when you tell me, just call your doctor up. Fuck that. My doctor's gonna say, come in, get the shot, wear a mask, social distance, blah blah. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't like the person over there. That's that confirmation bias. So that's what I mean by credit. Find out if the person is sincere. I had a friend come in my house and was like, I watched some YouTube videos and they said it's bullshit or they said it's this. And I'm like, from you? Don't you have a doctor? Don't you have a primary care physician? Like, YouTube? So, close friend. The intent matters. And if you don't know the intent, how can you help somebody, or humor somebody in a lot of ways? Good, you got it.
What you was about to say, Joel?
No, I agree with his sentiments
You said
100%.
pointing somebody in the direction. You said you was about to get to a point.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm gonna get back to that, but I'm just saying what he said. I agree with that. Like I don't have any pushback. The point that I was just trying to get out is that me trying to point somebody in the proper direction shouldn't be looked at as I'm looking at it like I'm smarter than them
That's
or
not what I'm saying. What I'm
well,
saying,
that's
just so
what
we
you
clear.
said, though.
No, that's
Go
not
ahead.
what I'm saying. Because you heard me say educational arrogance. That's how you took it.
Isn't that
This
the
is what
same thing?
No,
That's not the same thing?
no.
Oh,
Educational
what's
arrogance is this. One, in the United States, we believe that everybody is on the same level as us, and they're not. They're not. That's something I had to realize. That's educational arrogance. You think that, bro, and here's the thing. Here's a funny thing. Said this a long time ago. Cedric said this. Cedric Ortega, he said this. I keep assuming people know who these people are. Cedric Ortega, a friend of mine, he's a scientist in the Caribbean. I'd love to interview him one day on the show. He said, and I quote, I think we need to actually start having second and third grade equivalency tests before we have conversations with people. Because he's not educationally arrogant. He understands that most people don't have the ability to do research. And like Hit said, they don't care. So what I mean by educationally arrogant is when you say, well, this is what I would do, that's what they should do. You understand what I'm saying? Like I have the
I
ability to
understand, but
do,
you
yeah,
skipping over the
exactly.
point. You skipping over my point when I said you give a person the information. So I'm
What if they
taking it
can't
into
read
consideration.
it, Joel? What if they can't
Oh,
read
okay.
it?
You got me there. You got me there.
What
I
if,
didn't
bro,
consider that
listen,
one.
you're
Okay.
coming from a community. Hold on, you're coming from a community that argues over the word never and should and could. You're coming
But
from
Yeah,
a
would
community.
have,
Hold
would
on, hold
have.
on,
hold on,
wait,
I
hold
mean,
wait,
on.
I
wait,
would
All
wait,
have.
wait. Let me
hold on.
finish.
All
Let me finish. Hold on,
hold
hits.
on.
Let me
So
finish.
some people
Hold
can't
on.
read, right? Some people can't read. Some people can't work on a car either. That's no
No,
excuse
no.
for not
Okay,
getting your
yeah.
car fixed, right?
Oh yeah, no. I agree.
Not
You know
you.
what
I'm
I'm
not talking
saying?
to you. I'm just,
Oh, okay, for
yeah,
Joel.
yeah,
No,
in
but what I
general.
mean is you're
No, no,
coming from a
I bowed
community.
out. I bowed
Hold on,
out. You
Joel.
twisted. I'm crying uncle. I cried uncle. Go
Yeah,
ahead. You won that.
you're coming from a community that was telling people that COVID, from what y'all told me, I don't look no further into it, but that there were people in the community saying that it didn't even exist. That if it did exist, it came from 5G phones. And then now here, what you would say is, what you think is, and this is where I go back to, y'all job. Y'all have a tough job because the majority of the world is pseudo. So I like Fauci's point by saying they do it in such an energetic way, and then you or the ilk comes in and says, "Well, just read this, this, and this. Go here, 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 and here, and to go get this, this, and this." They 9 times out, not 9 times out of 10, but a lot of times out of 10, they're gonna listen to the person that says, "Well, yeah, it's 5G, man. Just stop using your phone." People listen to that, and they're not gonna go look and see what even 5G is. Most people have 5G on their phone. This way hit the nail on the head. Most people have 5G on their phone and they don't know what it is.
People don't even know what G stands for.
Yeah, they don't
I
even
painted
know
my house
about.
with lead to protect my family.
See,
Aluminum foil. You got aluminum foil on the
they
walls.
wearing aluminum foil.
No, I went all the way, bro. I painted the whole house with lead. The whole house
Tell them,
painted with
Joel.
lead.
Tell them, Joel. They don't know about that lead paint. They don't know
They
about it.
don't know
That's
nothing
that
about
hit.
it.
That's that hidden history knowledge, bro. Y'all don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, it's hidden.
Yeah.
It's hidden.
Hey Joel,
It's hidden.
would it surprise you if I told you? And this is what I mean. The United States is definitely educationally arrogant because we think that all these countries are developed. They're not. They're not. They're not. Do you know that whole thing about the people going to jail and stuff like that based on their literacy, that's a real thing. If you can't read, it's very hard to function in the United States. But there are underdeveloped countries where it's like join the club per se. Like, listen, it says global literacy statistics. So I think one thing that people forget when it comes to reading is also comprehension. You can read something, but if you can't comprehend, and y'all, you know what's funny, Joel? I'm calling bullshit. You know this. Y'all argue this all day long. How many people can read but have no comprehension whatsoever? Like you just read a page full of information, and then at the end of that page, somebody asks you about it. You don't know what the hell that page was about, but you read it. That's what I mean by don't believe, forget that people have the ability, that they even care to do it. They cool with Fauci made it up. They just cool with it. They it's like, all right, he made it up. They don't even know what he made up. I'm pretty sure that people are walking around right now believing that Fauci made up the COVID virus. It wasn't even real. COVID-19, made up COVID-19, that it wasn't even real. So, like this says right here, OECD's program for the International Assessment of Adult Competencies, the PIAAC. They assess adult literacy and place individuals into proficiency levels. The average reading proficiency score for adults across participating countries is around level 2 or 3. Level 2, you can read simple text, make low-level inferences, and integrate information. This level is roughly equivalent to basic high school level of reading comprehension. I hate to say this is what now North America and Europe, higher average literacy levels, with many adults reading at level 3 or above. Sub-Saharan Africa, oh, I can't believe I just said that. I'll just continue. Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia.
GPT did it to you.
Yep, GPT did it to me. Pause. Lower average literacy levels, with many adults reading at level 1 or below, which involves basic reading skills such as understanding simple, short text. And there go UNESCO. Yeah, I've heard y'all say that a bunch of times. So the average reading comprehension tends to be basic to intermediate, depending on the region, socioeconomic factors. In developed countries, most adults achieve high school level reading comprehension, while in developing countries, the levels are often lower due to various barriers to education. Now, I know we think COVID just affected the United States, but it affected the globe. And the internet is global. It's not just in the United States. So when they see Fauci made it up, that's what they're gonna run with, bro. They're not gonna go do research. They're not gonna go look it up. They're not gonna go say, and when I say they are not going to, I'm not speaking in absolutes. I believe for the most part they're not going to. That's just my thought on it. That's just my thought. If y'all want to say something, I just want to get back into what we was talking about, and then I'm gonna close in a second. So that was the mask. That was the social distancing. The other thing that they're talking about, that's the origin, the lab leak theory, which I'd love to do a show just on that. Fauci downplayed the lab leak theory, emphasizing that the virus most likely had a natural origin. His later acknowledgement in 2021, and they had a Senate hearing in 2021 during the pandemic. Fauci acknowledged that the lab leak hypothesis should not be dismissed and warranted further investigation. Critics claim Fauci's early dismissal of the lab leak theory was misleading and potentially influenced by a desire to protect scientific collaboration. Funding of gain-of-function research. He testified that the National Institute of Health did not fund gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. However, documents have surfaced indicating that some research funded by NIH grants did involve manipulating viruses to study their potential to cause pandemics. Allegations have been made that Fauci was not transparent about the nature of the research funded by the NIH, particularly in relation to gain-of-function experiments. Support. Did anybody get that Sean information? I want to plug his book and his website so people go to get accurate information.
What's his author's name? Like, what is his like?
I don't know
name?
anything about Sean other than his name is Sean.
do
And
I.
I think last night I found out his name was not even Sean or something like that. Whatever they was arguing about. But vaccine mandates and public messaging. Fauci has been a vocal supporter of vaccine mandates to curb the spread of COVID-19. Critics argue that Fauci's support for mandates has contributed to vaccine hesitancy and political polarization. They claim that the promotion of mandates may have overshadowed efforts to address vaccine concerns transparently. So these instances reflect the evolving nature of the pandemic response and the complexity of public health decision-making. While some criticisms focus on perceived inconsistencies or lack of transparency, others arise from the highly politicized environment surrounding the pandemic. It's important to consider the context in which these decisions and statements were made, as the scientific understanding of COVID-19 was continually developing. So this is my statement on this until the information changes. My statement is this. Until proven otherwise, Fauci and people of his ilk made statements regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. They made decisions based on the knowledge they had at the time. Read them shit. Whoever wrote that is hilarious.
I did.
Yeah, I know you did. I think personally, I think that they did exactly what scientists are supposed to do. Make decisions, come to a conclusion based on the information you have, and when it changes and the consensus changes, move with it. That's what I think they did. If y'all think he did something else, or y'all think he did something criminal, you have a channel, I would implore you not to do a show about it based off of anything else. But that's just what I think. That's what I go for.
Yeah, plain and simply, that's what you do in just about any leadership position, right? You choose action over inaction, right? And then you adjust as you get results. That's just what you do, right? Like, I don't think that should be hard for anybody to understand.
Yeah, I'd like to get. I think I want to try to have a conversation with Sean, especially with that being that's his wheelhouse, and the fact that like DQ said, it's one of the things that helped him actually explain it. What is his name? It says his name is Sean. What's his actual like? Is it Sean? Is how you spell it? What kind of Sean is it? How you spell Sean? Is it SEAN, SHAWN?
I'm not sure who they're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, me
I've seen
neither.
a few Sean's. I thought it was SHAWN. That may be one.
SHAWN.
Are
SHAWNP.
you talking about the guy that was battling Reggie last night?
I think that's what they said.
Is
Who
that
it is?
him?
He has a book, right? We were looking for his book to
Yeah, I
put
want
the
to
link
plug
in
his
here.
book. Anybody know the name of the book?
And also, if a person is not anti-government, the government agencies have a lot of records that are available online. So if anyone's, you can find a lot of information um, on the agency's websites. So there lot of good information. There's a lot of record keeping. Obviously everything is not there. And if you're a conspiracy theorist that they're holding, withholding everything, that may not be right for you. But for people, looking for more information, those are good resources. Actual government or state websites for documents.
I don't know if this is
Research.
it, but I'm gonna go with this. It says what SARS DQ help me out. What SARS-CoV-2 taught me by Inherit Sean P.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
As I hear the title, yeah, that's it.
Okay. So this is his book. Let's put his cover up nice and large. Mossy, yeah, this would be, I've heard that term before. Mossy Warrior Clan present What SARS-CoV-2 Taught Me by Inherit Sean P. So that's his book. I'll put the link
Maybe
to his
we'll do
book in the chat.
a book show one day for 30 minutes to put whoever has a book up just to go over there, just share their books. I'm sure people
Okay.
be interested.
And then there was something else. Y'all said he had a website, right? There's something else. Y'all said he had a website. Sean P. COVID-19 book, the Comedic Science Institute, lulu.com.
Maybe the Mossy Warrior, if you put that in, maybe that might.
Let me see. Mossy. What is it? Mossy Warrior Clan?
Yeah, try that. Oh, right there. It's right there. Go down one. Facebook page.
And let's see. Is this his Facebook page? Okay, that's his Facebook page.
So maybe he
I would
got it
say
over in his about section. Maybe if he has a website. In the intro section, anything there? No.
Black. Well, he has an email, mossywarriorclan@gmail.com. So if y'all have some information, and if he was as interested in this as y'all saying he was, I would say hit him in his email, mossywarriorclan, put it in the chat. mossywarriorclan@gmail.com. And blackpantherserere.com. Is this him, Logic?
Nah, it looks like one of the other Mossy Warrior clan because he's light skinned. Sean is.
All right, so maybe not then.
Okay, well, I plug it because I mean, like I said, this was above my pay grade, but it's a conversation that I want to have. This is interesting. Ain't this interesting right here? Look at this. It says Dustin the cocaine abuser. Is there a link to join StreamYard? I have a few thoughts.
If there was, you
let me
probably
give you
wouldn't
the
get the
quick
link.
answer.
Yeah.
There is one. The chances of me
There was a
giving
link, but not anymore.
yeah, the chances of me giving Dustin the cocaine abuser the link don't exist. So, like I said, hey Joel, Logic, DQ, I'm gonna stay in the we could talk on StreamYard for a little bit after this, but like I said, I just wanted to have a quick conversation about it, have a thought. Shout outs to Dustin the cocaine abuser and everybody who shared information.
This is a good show right here, man. Good show.
But hey Joel, I appreciate you, bro. Anytime you ever want to talk, you're always welcome. We got a
Oh
Discord.
yeah.
Have anybody send you the link or whatever to the Discord. And thank y'all for coming out. I'm gonna take y'all out with the commercial and hits. As you can see, I'm still always on brand. Check the time. Thank y'all for coming out. Have a good one.